Well, hello there, Catherine Langman here, back with you with another episode of the Productpreneur Success Podcast. Welcome to the show if you are a new listener, and of course, welcome back to all our long-time listeners. And so today we're going to be talking about Facebook ads. And I have to say that right now, many brands are struggling to get decent results from advertising on social media. And I'm seeing many give it up as an expensive lost cause. And in some cases, that is definitely the right move. But for most of us, stopping altogether is a complete disaster because without traffic to our online store, nothing else matters. Without traffic, there's no eyeballs on our products. There's no one adding products to cart. There's no one checking out of our shopping cart. And so we make no money. And of course, if you are serious about scaling and growing your business, you really do need to pay for traffic. Because if you want to grow your e-commerce business, there really is no source of customers that is more consistent and scalable than paid advertising. Now, Facebook advertising is how many of our clients, my clients, are seeing really fantastic growth in their e-commerce websites and their e-commerce businesses, and going from a handful of orders, making just pocket change each week, each month, to really consistent, profitable monthly sales. Now, of course, Facebook ads is not the only marketing or advertising that they're doing, but it is a significant part of their strategy. But at the same time, you also need to know that you will get profitable returns on your advertising dollars, right? And so here is where kind of the chicken and the egg scenario can begin. And I see a lot of small brands still, when they are trying to run ads, they're still tending to focus their advertising efforts on the new customer attraction phase of their advertising. And of course, attracting new eyeballs to your online store is incredibly important. It's also the strategy that is least likely to generate the most profitable returns for you. Whereas there is an e-commerce Facebook ad strategy that has the potential to completely knock your sales out of the ballpark. And this e-commerce Facebook ad strategy that I'm seeing works so incredibly well with my clients has changed the way we look at advertising and makes, four times, six times, even sometimes higher ROI on advertising spend look completely normal. So in this episode, it is my goal to help you avoid flushing your advertising dollars down the toilet. But before we get into it today, I really want to just give you one last reminder to join me for my live e-commerce Facebook ad workshop that's happening tomorrow. And during this live and interactive session, I will be sharing the 3 biggest mistakes that brands are making right now with their paid traffic and sharing the exact strategies that we're using right now to generate consistent, high quality traffic and profits and sales with ease. And now it is completely free, and you can register by heading to catherinelangman.com/workshop. Alrighty then, so let's dive into the episode and talk about how to know if your online store is ready for Facebook ads and how to get started with a winning profitable strategy. Even now in late 2022, one of the most effective ways to grow e-commerce sales is through Meta advertising. Meta being the company that owns Facebook and Instagram. So for the sake of simplicity in this episode, I'm just going to refer to this as Facebook ads, and those ads can actually be, run on Facebook or Instagram. We're using the Facebook Ads Manager to book and place those ads. Now, when it comes to sending paid traffic to your e-commerce website, you really want to make sure that A, your brand is at the right stage of growth to be ready for it, and B, your website is ready for it. Because if your website is not set up ready to receive that paid traffic, then you're likely to find your ad results are expensive or worse, just don't work. So firstly, let's talk about whether your brand is at the right stage of growth for Facebook ads. And I'm talking about this because recently I heard a number of e-commerce brand owners and quite big businesses, mature businesses in terms of, e-commerce maturity. It's not like an e-commerce business has been around for 100 years. So all in context there, but they were talking about the topic of having decided to give up Facebook ads because they had heard how or had found it had become really hard to get the same returns that they were used to. So they had decided that it's too expensive to run Facebook ads anymore, and so they're just going to stop doing it. And so some of the business owners that I was talking to and who had heard this conversation as well, so they were hearing this from a really well-known Aussie skincare brand who had kind of been talking about stopping all paid advertising and not noticing any difference to their sales. Now, this was a few months ago from the date of recording this, so I don't know if that brand is still not noticing any difference or what the go is for them. However, I just want to talk about the fact that not all e-commerce brands are at the same stage in their business growth journey, or actually even have the same kind of scenario in terms of what they sell to be able to make the same decision and still enjoy great results. So here are 3 things that you want to consider when deciding to pay for advertising or not to pay for it. And number 1 is, are you a well-known brand or the world's best kept secret? So the first consideration must be about your level of brand awareness and the size of your existing audience. Because if your business is at a fairly early stage in its journey, the chances are not many people will know about you yet. And with no existing audience, you have no one to sell to. Like I said earlier, the fact of the matter is, without traffic, nothing else matters, right? It won't matter how fabulous your products are or how attentive your customer service is. If no one knows about you, they ain't buying. Whereas if you are a mature brand, you probably already have high volumes of organic search traffic and a really large email database and existing customer database, meaning that you enjoy lots of free website visitors, repeat sales, and word of mouth advertising. So what are the best ad platforms for brand awareness versus traffic and sales? And you have multiple options here, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say for brand awareness, the Facebook, Instagram ads, and also TikTok is working really well at this point in time for brand awareness. And then for converting traffic and sales, so this is more, when you think about once you've got a little bit of awareness already, you've got a bit of an audience already, then how do you really drive that traffic and sales scenario? And you're really going to be looking at Facebook and Instagram and Google for those ads. And the second consideration you really need to think about when you're deciding whether or not to run paid advertising is, do you have a built-in replenishment strategy? And what do I mean by this? So when you are a mature brand, you are likely to have a solid replenishment sales strategy in place, like that returning customer rate, meaning that when a new customer buys from you the first time, you know that they are likely to remain a customer for several years and purchase numerous times over that period of time. And obviously, this kind of requires you to have either a consumable product that needs to be repurchased on a regular basis, like skincare or makeup or coffee beans, if you're like me, or complementary products that do prompt regular repeat purchases, like fashion. And it requires you to have built a large database of customers that you can use to drive sales using email marketing. And it also requires you to really thoroughly know your numbers. So you need to have clear visibility over your customer lifetime value. So how long a customer stays with you and how many times they will repeat purchase with you. Usually an early stage brand's sales are not self-generating in this way, because in the early stages, you need to acquire the new customers and the email subscribers first, which means that you need consistent traffic coming to your website. So next I want to talk about 5 things that you must have addressed on your website before you start sending paid traffic to it. Because if you think about it, if you start paying to send a whole lot of traffic to a website that is not going to convert into sales, it's got a really poor conversion rate for whatever reason, then you are kind of wasting that money. So I don't want you to do that. So here are 5 things that you really need to make sure that you've covered off. And the first is a setup thing. You need to have installed your Facebook pixel and set up your Facebook conversion API, the CAPI. And so I hope this step would kind of go without saying, but for the sake of stating the obvious, you really must have your Facebook pixel installed on your website, and you must have set up your conversion API. CAPI is for short. And this is the way that your website communicates tracking data back to your Facebook ads manager. And we will actually be talking about this in a lot more detail in the workshop. So if you haven't, if I'm talking gobbledygook to you here, then please go and register for that and jump on with me for that interactive workshop. Anyhow, moving on. Every Facebook ad account comes with one unique pixel, which is essentially a little bit of tracking code that gets pasted into your website source code. That might sound a little bit tricky. It's actually pretty simple on most websites, and you'll find a comprehensive instructions or video on how to do this. You can just do a quick search on YouTube, search for how to set up Facebook pixel on WordPress or on Shopify, and so on and so forth. Or you can head to my blog, catherinelangman.com, and search for CAPI, C-A-P-I, and you'll find some instructions on how to get that set up as well. Once you've done that, you need to make sure that you have set up and prioritized your standard event tracking within your Facebook ad account. So basically all this means is that you're asking Facebook to track not just clicks to your website, but also the actions that your website visitors are doing on your website. So whether they're viewing products or adding to cart or checking out and completing a purchase or whatever they might be doing. And by tracking these events, you'll be able to get much smarter with your Facebook ads and show specific messages to people who might have viewed your product pages but not completed a purchase, for instance. And then by prioritizing these events, you are instructing Facebook on which event is the most important to your business. And for an e-commerce store, that is going to be purchase. Second thing that you need to have made sure with your website before you start advertising is that it needs to have an excellent mobile user experience. So when you start sending lots of traffic to your website from paid Facebook ads, you should expect the vast majority of those visitors will be using their mobile phone to browse your website. And that means it is imperative that your website works really well on mobile. Now, as business owners or as, whoever it is that's working on your website, it often will mean that you're looking at your website on your desktop computer or your laptop. And quite often, you don't go all the way through your shopping cart or your checkout on the mobile version. But you need to do these things. You need to look critically at your site on mobile. You need to test how easy it is to navigate, to shop on a mobile, and really make sure that it is really easy and a great user experience for somebody to go through your website on their mobile phone. Now, one of the best examples of an e-commerce website that is really well designed for the mobile experience is the Bird's Nest website. That would be birdsnest.com.au. And I would even argue that this website works better on mobile than desktop. They have absolutely nailed a mobile-first web design. The third thing that you really want to check out with your website before you start sending paid traffic to it is your website's bounce rate. So this means you're going to have to go into your website analytics or your Google Analytics and work out what this is. So a bounce rate simply means the proportion of your website's visitors who immediately click away after landing on your site. And, the mathematics of that is that a high bounce rate means that your website visitors aren't sticking around for longer than a split second, which is really bad because they're not going to be spending enough time to even look at your product. So logically, it would be really wasteful to spend lots of money on Facebook advertising if a really large portion of those paid visitors are just going to bounce off. So the average bounce rate for an e-commerce website is about 40%. So, like I said before, if you want to find out yours, you'll need to find your analytics. So your Google Analytics, your Shopify Analytics, wherever you go to get that information. And if your bounce rate is average or lower, then you have my blessing to start paid advertising. But if your bounce rate is above average, and the caveat to this is if it's above average and you are already getting at least kind of 750 to 1,000 visitors per week to your website, then you need to do some work on your website first to improve that conversion rate. If you've got a really low traffic volume, then you're actually likely to have, low conversion rate, high bounce rate. So have a look at that in your analytics. One of the biggest culprits that will often cause a high bounce rate is a really slow page load speed, especially on mobile. And we see this a lot. So you really want to aim for a page load speed of under 3 seconds if you can. And there is a direct correlation of conversion rate and page load speed. So the slower your page is to load, the lower your conversion rate will be. We are impatient creatures as humans. We don't want to wait around for this stuff. We want it to load up instantly. So if yours is really slow, you need to do some work on that. And so if you need to go and test your page load speed, you can use free tools like Pingdom or Google Page Speed Tools. Just go to Google and Google that stuff and it will come up straight away for you. The fourth thing on your website that you really need to check before you start sending a lot of paid traffic to it is your website's cart abandonment rate. So have you ever heard of that term, shopping cart abandonment, checkout abandonment, that sort of thing? It is a bit of a pesky situation that is always going to be around for e-commerce websites. And basically what it means is shoppers who've added products to their shopping cart and they've begun the checkout process, but then they jump ship before handing over their cashola. So annoying, right? But, it goes without saying, I think, that having a really high cart abandonment rate is really bad. Actually, it's not all bad. It does mean that you have people who are interested in buying from you. These are your warmest leads. But you do need to do a little bit of work to figure out what's stopping them from sealing the deal. Now, the average cart abandonment rate for e-commerce websites is actually quite high at 68%. So you can find your abandoned cart rate by looking at your analytics, so either within your website platform or Google Analytics. And if your abandoned cart rate is average or below, it doesn't mean that you don't want to do things like run abandoned cart ads or use a abandoned cart email automation. Of course, you want to do those things and try and pick some of those up. But however, if it's average or below, then you're good to go with your paid advertising. Of course, if your abandoned cart rate is higher than average, then you probably want to do a little bit of work because, again, there's no point spending money on ads if the vast majority ain't going to check out. So the number one reason that most shoppers abandon their carts is reaching the checkout and being slugged by unexpected or really expensive shipping costs. And I would also argue sometimes the fact that shipping is going to be really slow. So for instance, if you've got a product that is on pre-order, you have to expect the cart abandonment rate is going to be really high with that. The second most common reason that shoppers abandon their carts is just being forced to create a new user account. And both of those factors are pretty easy to remedy. So really make sure that you do that before you start sending paid traffic to your website. And again, that should be pretty quick to get in place. The fifth thing that you need to make sure that you have in place on your website before you start sending paid traffic to it is that you really want to try and have the best user experience on your website possible. By user experience, I mean the experience that your potential customer has when they come to your website. What does it, how do they feel? Are they excited? Are they enjoying the experience? Are they finding it easy to navigate to what they want to look at or buy? Is it really clear to them what you sell and who it's for and how to get it? So all of that needs to be a really great experience for them on your website. And it still surprises me, I have to say, that when I review e-commerce websites, to find that there are quite a high number whose website design and navigation is really confusing. And as business owners, we are really familiar with our own websites and our own products. We know exactly what we sell and where to find it. But, it's not always like that for our customers. So I want you to take your business owner hat off for a moment and take a look at your website on desktop and mobile from the perspective of a brand new customer, or better yet, grab someone who you feel would be, the profile of your customer avatar, that kind of person, and just observe them using your website. Don't tell them anything, don't instruct them, just observe what they do. And when coming to your website for the first time, is it immediately clear what you sell and who it's for? And is the design clear and uncluttered as well? So clarity is super important here. So you really want your images to show clearly what you sell, who it's for, and that they are really inviting to look at. And then have a look at your navigation as well. Is that simple? Is it uncluttered? Is it easy to follow? Is it intuitive? Your top navigation should be all about the products. So put things like your blog and your about pages down in the footer navigation. Consumers will know to go and look there for that stuff anyway. And then do you have things like customer reviews to show how awesome your products are? What about your product pages? Do you have multiple product images? Are your add to cart buttons easy to spot and preferably in a contrasting color and high up the page so that you don't make people scroll for hours to, figure out how to buy? I did a whole episode a couple of weeks back all about high converting product pages. So if you haven't had a look at that one yet, then go and check that one out. You want to include trust symbols. So things like secure payment badges, trusted payment methods, guarantees if you offer one. All of that kind of stuff helps to provide a really great user experience, and it just inspires confidence and trust, and helps your potential customers to quickly and easily find what they're looking for. So for a couple of really great examples of e-commerce stores that have excellent user experience, check out the Iconic and of course good old Bird's Nest as well. So once you are confident that your website is ready to start sending paid Facebook ad traffic to it, how do you get started with the right ad strategy, especially if if you are new to this, you haven't got the biggest budget in the world, or maybe you've been running ads before and they just aren't getting great results. And the first thing that I need to tell you all is that it is never about just one campaign. A lot of small business owners are really quite risk averse when it comes to spending money on advertising, and I understand. I know, I've been there too, right? And it is scary to commit to paying for promotions when there is no guarantee that you're going to get the return that you're looking for. So what do most people do in this scenario? And in an attempt to conserve funds, they will put up one ad trying to win over new customers and get sales from that one ad. And, the somewhat misguided expectation here is that they can attract potential customers who've never heard of the brand before and expect them to buy off just one ad. And especially in today's digital environment where consumer privacy is king and data tracking is difficult, this one ad, this kind of single ad cold to conversion strategy is just not working anymore. So when it comes to paid ads on Facebook and Instagram, you really need to remember these three important things. And the first is that Facebook and Instagram are social platforms. Now, I know that all of us who exist on these social platforms know that we're going to see ads and that people are going to be getting at, trying to get us to buy. But even still, we don't go on there with the express purpose of buying. So hitting up those people who don't know you from a bar of soap with an advertisement asking them to buy from you is probably not going to stop them from scrolling their newsfeed. The second thing you need to remember is to just think about how your customers buy. And this is not the same as how do you sell. And the third consideration here that you need to remember is you don't just rely on social media. You need to own your own audience. So the three-part Facebook ad campaign goes like this. First of all, what's the goal for your ad campaign? It's to help your potential customers to make a purchase decision with you, right? And to achieve that typically means engaging with them before they buy, during their purchase experience, and then after they've bought already. Which is why I try and get my clients to run at least 3 different ad campaigns. And I say at least. And the first is to capture your potential customers' attention and help to generate some interest in your brand and your products first. So the first thing that you need to do is to build your audience of potential paying customers and to get your brand in front of people who don't know you yet. And you want to exclude your existing customers, your email subscribers, and your social media followers from this ads audience, and instead target people who look the most like them. So of course, you will need to know your customer avatar so that you can, describe them in terms of interests or in terms of demographics and geographics and all of that kind of stuff. You also need to kind of have an idea about what they might be interested in terms of content, because that kind of content is going to be what attracts their attention, or at least stops them from scrolling enough to maybe watch your video or to engage with your post or your ad in some way, shape, or form. So this kind of ad is not really selling, right? If you think about the kind of content that stops you from scrolling on social media, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or wherever you're spending time, the kind of content from people you don't know and brands you don't know that will get you to stop scrolling and to spend some time watching. That is what you need to create here. It is not a hard sell type ad. The second ad that you want to be running is therefore to retarget that warm audience, that newly warmed up audience, those people who have just been engaging with your brand. You want to show them an ad to get them to visit your website and check out your products, hopefully buy from you. If they don't buy from you, you want to get them onto your email list. And this ad here, this should definitely be aimed at closing the deal and getting the purchase. And my advice to accelerate your results here is to include some kind of incentive or offer. It doesn't actually need to be a discount. You don't have to give a code or anything like this, but you really need to give people a reason to go and buy from you. And then the third ad that you want to be running here is to your loyal customers. These are going to be your most profitable customers. The fact of the matter is that existing customers are more likely to purchase and spend more money with you per transaction. So this is where you want to be using the special offers, launching out new products as well. So those should not be discounted by any stretch. But new products, new promotions, any kind of special offers, anything that is going to increase customer retention and customer lifetime value, and show these sorts of ads to your past customers rather than to those who haven't bought from you yet, or at least the cold ones who don't know who you are. So these kinds of promotions should also be going out to your audience on email as well. Surprise, surprise. And, because when your audience sees the same messages repeated in multiple places, it reinforces that message and they're more likely to remember and to act on it. Now, I don't want you to make a common mistake here, because unfortunately, too many business owners think that the sum total of their marketing efforts end when they get the customer to make their first purchase. So they never follow up with buyers or continue to add value or continue to make offers, and they lose most of their potential profit because of it. So you need to remember, it's always easier to get your existing customers to buy from you again compared to winning over new customers all the time. And it costs less as well. So in the early stages of your business, you obviously won't have returning customers yet, but over time, you need to make it a goal for yourself to retain your customers and encourage that repeat purchase rate. And you want to eventually aim to get your returning customer rate up to as close to 50% as possible. So that means that you are always acquiring new customers, but you also have a really, really strong repeat purchase rate. And lastly, you must complement your ads with email marketing. Now, like I mentioned earlier, it's not enough to rely on driving traffic from audiences on social media, either organic or paid. That is going to be the riskiest and least profitable way to do it. So these days, we need to think about social media ads with an in-off-own approach. And basically this means, number one, that you are building and engaging your audiences in social media, like on the platforms. You can use organic content here as well as paid ads, like we were talking about. And secondly, you want to send that traffic off to your own website. Yes, you want them to buy here, right? And then you also, number three, importantly, you want to get them to subscribe to your own database. And why must we do it this way? So here's the secret sauce for you. The strategy that consistently sees my clients enjoying, massively and quickly scaling up their sales and importantly, their profits. Firstly, an email list is an asset that you own. You do not own your audiences on social media pages, and you can lose access to them at any time. Secondly, email marketing is the most profitable marketing channel that you can employ in your business, even now generating 3,800% ROI. So for every $1 spent on email marketing, you get $38 back. That's insane. And thirdly, using the right tool for the job, and that will be Klaviyo for e-commerce businesses, means that you can actually feed the data that you gather about your subscribers and your customers. You can feed that back to Facebook ads and Google ads as well to provide more accurate data for those retargeting ads, right? And it actually, that data helps to inform the Facebook ads algorithm and the pixel, and it helps it's like a snowball effect that helps your ads to get cleverer at finding new customers more accurately. And finally, when it comes to adding email to the mix, you will always enjoy greater results when your customers see the same messages reinforced across multiple channels. And so that means a potential customer receives an offer from you on email as well as being retargeted by your ads on Facebook. And it also means sending specific offers and promotions to your past customers via email as well as using ads. And this should be different to the newsletters that you might send to everyone on your list, right? Remember, you have lots of non-customers subscribed to your list as well. So with Klaviyo, you can segment that list in all different kinds of ways. You can have a segment of lapsed customers, maybe people that you want to re-engage and, they might not have bought for, 12 months or something, and you want to re-engage them and get them to buy again. Or you might have your VIP list, or you might have customers who've only bought from one product category and you want to cross-sell them to another product category. So you can have all of these different segments inside your Klaviyo account, and you can send them relevant emails, and you can also show them relevant ads, because that data is being fed back from your Klaviyo account to your Facebook ad account. So if you want some help to get this moving or understand it better in your own business, you've got a few choices here. So usually there's 3 choices with any new strategy. You can keep doing the same as you're doing now and, probably get the same results, or you can learn how to implement your new knowledge yourself, or you can get some help from the experts. So of course, like I said earlier, I do have my live workshop happening tomorrow. If you don't already know about it, it's free, and it's all about this new strategy for running Facebook ads for e-commerce. So if you want to check it out, go and reserve your seat. Just head to catherinelangman.com/workshop. Or of course, if you want to just get some help from us, you can do that too. So if you are serious about growing your e-commerce business online, but you really just want to shortcut that growth curve and learn how to do it without the hustle or overwhelm, I highly recommend learning from us or working with us. So whether you're looking for that kind of training or coaching, or you just like to outsource to the experts, then we're here to help. So you are more than welcome, and I invite you to book in a no obligation call with us, and we can just strategize and talk about how to bring your dream business to life and to grow there as quickly as possible. So to do that, you can head to productpreneurmarketing.com/let's-talk, and you can book in your free e-commerce strategy session with us there. I will link to that on the podcast show notes page, along with all of the other links that I've mentioned today. And so that is it for today's episode. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you did, I would be forever grateful if you would share it with 1 or 2 of your e-commerce business besties, especially if you know that they are looking to scale and grow their online store this year. It's super easy to share it. All you need to do is click on the icon next to the podcast on whichever platform that you're listening to it on, copy that share link, and then you can message it to your friends. But for now, have a fabulous rest of the day and week, and I will be back on the show with you again next week. Bye for now.